I want to share with you a repair to the driver's door on my 2020 Ford Escape. This car's got warranty on it, but on a Tuesday, I noticed this Tuesday afternoon as I closed my door, it started making a popping sound. So I took it right out to the dealer, and they said that I needed a new, they call this a door brake or a door limiter. It is Ford part number LJ6Z72, or excuse me, LJ6Z78 23552. And this is, as you close the door, there are some little dimples in here and a track that it slides in, and there are some very powerful springs that clamp down on that, and that's what holds your door partially open. And mine started popping, or I believe that's what it was, so they ordered me this new part. That was on a Tuesday. They called me on Thursday, said the part was in, scheduled an appointment for the following Tuesday. On Friday of that same week, it got to where I couldn't even close the door. And what happened, there's a bracket inside the door that this bolts to, and there are 3 spot welds. And if you check on the internet, you'll find this is apparently getting to be a common problem, where those spot welds break and the bracket that actually holds this in place comes off. Ford's solution to that is to replace the entire door under warranty, which that's fine, I appreciate that. But they don't know when they're going to be able to get me a door. It could be several months because this appears to be a developing problem with the car. And I couldn't close my door. And what I read online is that if you force it closed, then this whole arrangement and the bracket can get into the window regulator and damage it. So your window won't go up and down, as well as you can't close your door. Well, I needed to be able to drive this car. And so, luckily that happened at home, where I had some tools rather than out on the road. I cut that arm and just unbolted it. So now my door works, but there's no limiter on it. I have to really hang on to it, so I've got some tape to remind me to hang on to the door when I open and close it. To replace this door, I'm told, is about a $2,500 job. Mine's going to be under warranty, but again, I don't know when they're getting the door, and I'm a little concerned that the wind may catch it and do some additional damage on it. So I'm going to make a repair, and I'm going to share it with you. If this car were not under warranty, you can fix this car with some basic mechanical skills, some basic tools. I'm going to guess in less than 3 hours, probably about 2 hours, but I'll share the video. But if this happens and it's out of warranty, you don't want to spend $2,500. I'm going to guess in about 3 hours I can fix this thing. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the door card off, retrieve that bracket, and replace those spot welds with rivets. You could also use sheet metal screws, although I'd recommend a machine screw if you don't have a riveting tool. But these, first thing I have to do is take the door card off. There are a couple of real good videos on taking the door cards off of 2022 Escapes, so I'm not going to get into that. Tools that will be required to do this job: you'll need a ratchet and an extension, maybe a cordless drill instead of the ratchet, an 8mm and a 7mm socket. These tools here, they're from Harbor Freight. This is a set of body tools. They're plastic, so you don't scratch things. And then this is a tool to help pop the pins off of the door. You don't really have to have these things, but that's about $20 from Harbor Freight right there. But they are helpful, and when you watch those guys take those door cards off, you'll see what you need those for. I'm not going to make a video about taking the door card off. I'm just going to get off, show you how I do this repair. Okay, I got my bracket out, but let me show you. You don't have to take this whole panel out. Just take the speaker out. One little wire, 3 screws, and there's a little rivet at the top that you've got to pop out. But by getting that speaker out, gives you full access to where you need to be. Here is that bracket that broke off. Here's the door limiter that goes right in there, and these are the 3 spot welds that broke that are right here. So what my plan is I'm going to drill these out. I'm going to do it on the drill press, but you can do it with just a hand drill. I'm going to guess this isn't that heavy a metal. And then I'm going to put rivets in them and put the door back together. I think it's going to be as good as new. One thing I want to bring your attention to, if yours is just getting loose and hasn't broken yet, you can see on this where the door limiter goes and such. If I had known what was happening inside my door before those welds broke, I would have put in a couple of pop rivets or screws, one way or the other. Pop rivets you could do without even taking the door card apart, but you can see where you might drill those at. But I'm going to drill these 3 spot welds out and put in rivets. So we'll see how that goes. But again, just taking the speaker out gives you plenty of room. You kind of got to move stuff around in there and stuff, but you can work it out. Okay, I have this all drilled out. I did it with a hand drill rather than on the drill press, just because I felt I could have a little bit more control. So on each of those spot welds, I drilled it out to 3/16. I'm going to use 3/16 by 1/4 inch pop rivets. And the other thing I did before I put the door back together, hopefully I can get this in here, I just held it up there to where those 3 holes are going to be, and then I took my Sharpie and put a couple of more marks on the door. I probably will put in 3 more rivets, so it'll have a total of 6. 3 are probably plenty, but because this thing has come loose, I'm thinking I might do that. But anyway, it was easier to mark those out by holding the existing bracket up there. So going to put this back in the door, put the bracket in, give it riveted in place. And for those of you that aren't familiar, again, you can use screws, but these aren't too expensive of tools to get a pop rivet gun. And then you can use these rivets, especially if your door has not broken yet, but these are getting weak. You can see that they're weak. If you buy this tool, and I don't know how much it is, but it can't be that expensive, before the welds break, you can go in and do just like I'm going to do and put in some extra holes and put in some rivets. Don't even have to take the door apart. It'll take you 10 minutes, you'll have this thing all reinforced. I want this to all line up. While I was installing the first rivet, I put the other 2 in just so that they're in there, so I keep everything lined up. I'll go ahead and put the second 2 in, and I've decided I'm going to put in 2 more rivets, not all 3 extra. I discovered one other thing while I was putting this together. Behind this weather strip, there's a spot for another couple of spot welds that, trying to get the camera in there, that I didn't notice. Got to peel this weather stripping back a little bit. So I've got a 90-degree drill, but you'd want to drill those out first. There's one there. This little pink thing holds the weather strip in place. There's one there, and then one more up there. And so I'll take my 90-degree drill those out and put in pop rivets there as well. Okay, as you can see, I got the 3 additional rivets put in on the other side, pulled this weather strip back, and I had to use an angle drill because I didn't see that before I put the bracket back in and already had these 3 rivets in place. So if you do this job while you've got the bracket out, go ahead and drill those 3 out as well out of the bracket. The hole that'll be in the door frame will already be big enough for the rivets because that's where the spot weld broke off. So at this point, I've decided not to add the 2 extra rivets that I was going to. I had 3, then I made it 2. I think I'm just going to keep it the way it is for now. Rivet will hold so much more, in my opinion, than a spot weld will. So we'll go with this. So I'll put this weather strip back in place and get the door stop put in, and I think I'm ready to put it back together. One other thing I'll recommend is you take the door card off. Again, watch those other videos, but there's different size and styles of screws that go through these panels. So what I did was I took the panel off, put the matching screw or screws that go with that panel. So I make sure that I use the right fastener in the right spot. One tool I forgot to mention you'll need is a T25 Torx, whether it's a screwdriver type or one that goes in your socket, but excuse me, T30 Torx goes right there to hold the limiter arm to the A-pillar. Got the door all back together. I can take these pieces of tape off now, reminding me to hang onto the door when I open it. Went ahead as I reassembled the door card, before I put it all back together, made sure that all my power accessories work. But got it all back together, and it works just great. So I think that's going to work out well. Again, if you're out of warranty and you got to pay the $2,500, spend a couple hours out in your shop. It took me less than, I'm going to say less than 2 hours, and again, that was with stopping to make the video. So pretty easy fix if you've got some basic mechanical abilities and some basic tools. Toolman signing off.